Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Leicester Square Theatre. Please welcome a man whose dizziness has abated. It's Richard Herring. Oh, thank you very much. That's what we want. That is what we want. Lovely to see you all. Thank you so much for coming, and lovely to see a full Leicester Square Theatre again. Welcome to Rich Herring's Leicester Square Theatre podcast. Though I was talking to Tony, Mark and David, Anna and Sue Yin from off of the Lost Islands. I'm very keen to try and repopularise this. It's my Pete Kay moment. And they call it RHLSTP, so I don't know if that's kind of... Come on, you know, remember the Lost Islands, don't you, David? Do you remember the song went on? You've got to have listened to the Matthew Holness podcast. Go and listen to it afterwards if you haven't. At the end it goes, and David and no, what is it? It's Tony, Mark and David, Anna and Sue Yin are left here on the island. What will next begin? The adventure lies behind them. Danger is ahead. Can't remember how it goes. Just trying to get all of the Lost Island. I remembered the final verse, but after the show. It's too late to talk about it. Anyway, look, it's great to be here. I've been a bit dizzy. I'm better now. It's all right. So that's good. But I was on a dog walk yesterday, actually, and I went a different route than usual, up by the cricket pitch, you know it, in my village. And there was something I've been there loads of times. There was something I'd never seen before, which was there was a plaque on the ground in the middle, just by the cricket pitch, and it said, "This oak tree has been donated by North Hertfordshire District Council to commemorate the birth of His Royal Highness Prince George of Cambridge on the 22nd of July 2015. Now, the unusual thing about that is there is no oak tree near the plaque. The plaque is there, but there's no closer. There's a little circular patch of slightly greener grass that might possibly indicate where there was once an oak tree, but if there ever was an oak tree, it has gone, or it failed to grow from its acorn, and yet no one has even taken the plaque away or thought to replace the oak tree with another oak tree. As a result, it's slightly sinister. It's a plaque to a baby with a thing that isn't there. Didn't work out, but no one can be asked to do anything about it, which seems a lot worse than just honouring a baby. Feels like a bad omen for George as well. I don't want to say, if anything negative ever happens to George, the baby, I'll be blaming North Hertfordshire County Council. I blame them for most things, mainly my bins not being emptied on time, and also my daughter having to go to school in the next village along rather than our village, which has a perfectly decent school. I'm just thought I'd have a crack at North Hertfordshire District Council. 13 siblings in her year, only 15 kids allowed in each class. We live half a mile away, it's ridiculous. Okay. And if failing to maintain or plant an oak tree is not treasonous, I don't know what is. What if Prince George one day sees that and wonders where his fucking oak tree is? Yeah, he could be king by then. He could nuclear bomb North Hertfordshire and no one would blame him. Personally, I think if they're planting oak trees for one baby, they should do it for all of them. So I'm glad there is no oak tree, because I think my kids should have an oak tree as well. But if you're going to plant an oak tree for a baby, then you have to see things through, or at least dig up the plaque showing your obsequious support for an infant that's happened to slide out of the right birth canal. But, you know, not since Ozymandias has there been such a potent representation of hubris. Good, so welcome to the show. Welcome, of course, to the people who are live streaming at this exact moment at home, watching at home. Isn't that insane? I hope it's working. It worked well last week, so that's a good sign. Let's crack straight on. We've got an amazing guest this week, of course. Possibly my favourite guest. So hard to pick. They're all late children. He is probably best known for his appearance on Match of the Day 2. I literally just looked up 5 minutes ago because I'd forgotten to do one, and that was the first thing I saw. That's why we're all here. Will you please welcome, ladies and gentlemen, the amazing Bob Mortimer! Thank you very much. So very nice. Very nice audience tonight. How are you, Bob?
I'm very well, thank you.
Good.
It's my first trip up for, since lockdown.
Is
and
it?
that. Yeah, so we're a bit nervous about it. And
coming
it seems to have made me talk a little bit Yorkshire. Is that one of the side effects? Do you can? Sorry.
It could be. Well, I think we're a long distance away from the mob here.
Yeah,
Bob. So
I mean, I am a bit of a spitter. I was a bit worried about that.
Oh, yeah. We can infect them as long as they don't infect us.
I think that's what you think, isn't it? I was sat in bed thinking last night, that's all right. It's like you're facing a cobra with my spit. But I'm all right. Imagine if you could coil. I don't know, Richard. It feels like it could be. There are a lot of possibilities there. Instantly coil.
It would be good, and uncoil. The uncoiling would be the fun part for me.
I don't know what to do with it. You could certainly clean suspension, you know.
Yeah.
The suspension.
You could be used yourself as some kind of circular loofah for sure. But I mean, there'd be so much more to do with it than that. I think it's that's interesting.
So.
Would that be your main port of call?
What
to clean
coils? No, it seems a waste to use a coil to clean a coil.
Yeah,
you know. Do you know what I mean?
I do. That's why I was surprised. I would jump out and surprise people.
I suppose so. Yeah,
you could be in a basket, a very small basket, and then jump out.
If you had a granddad who could play the flute for you or something, and at a certain note, you coil up. I wouldn't spit. I would never spit.
Well, I was going to talk to you about. I've been reading your absolutely fantastic book. I've read the whole thing and away. It's brilliant. Everyone will get it anyway, so there's no need. Yeah, absolutely. But it's brilliant. One of the things I think was very interesting very early on was talking about your childhood and the boy in the changing rooms who could
retractile.
Yeah, retract his.
Yes, it's absolutely true. Not really a friend, but someone said, come here, mate, see what's in the shower room.
Yeah.
He said, come and watch this. And I was a little lad, what would we be, about 12 or 13? And we watched him, we're all starkers, and he concentrated like that, and his penis retracted so that there was just an extra belly button.
Yeah.
I mean, that was amazing.
I mean, that's just. But I think with that skill, if that, what would you do? It seems a shame to. I thought it's very bold of that kid to reveal that to other kids. There was a moment you have to think: am I going to let them know? Will they admire me or will they mock me? They have to think about that. That could be it for life.
It's a big call.
It is. Yeah.
It's a big call to decide.
Am I going to do this for you?
But if you could retract it.
Yeah.
You'd want people to know, wouldn't you?
I would, but what would you? I wouldn't. Where is he now, and why is he not? Why is this not an act that he's? If he's out there, you're welcome to be a guest on the show. We can spend an hour just retracting and presumably.
Well,
retracting.
Would you ever tire of it?
I wouldn't.
I don't.
It might be just something that a child can do, and then once you've got to adulthood.
Oh, a bit like the singers when they lose their voice. Yeah, no, I'm with you.
Yeah.
But retracto. Where if you threaten him, he will form a cranny, something like that. But you're two useless powers. Well, I can coil up and I can retract, and then just shoot me.
Yeah, it's good. I knew the book was going to be good straight away. The thing that it's obviously weird. It's based around. We last had you on the show in 2015 in about July, I think, and later that year you were to have this medical emergency where you ended up having to have a triple heart bypass. That sounds really bad.
It does. I've subsequently found out that if you want the real men have a quad.
Right.
It's funny that there are there's grades of it. I'm in the zipper club. We're all in the zipper club. Because you have that scar down there, but you find that a lot of people message me now and email me saying they're going to have it. Is it or I've had it and it was fine and so on. But the pride of it turned out mine was a capitalist quad. But I was a triple. They said I remember my surgeon said to me, I was very near a tour, Richard, when I had to cancel it to the operation. And he said I would have dropped probably dropped at Southampton. Mayflower. At the Mayflower. Do you know that theatre?
I don't really know the Mayflower.
I don't think you choose it as...
No, the place to go.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I shall drop at the Royal Opera House.
Yeah.
But no, Southampton Mayflower.
Because Eric Morecambe went in Tewkesbury, I think, wasn't it? Was that right? I played the venue, but so few people came to see me that I ended up playing the bar, is all I remember.
do they mark it in any way?
I think there's I think the dressing room is named after it. Maybe you can name the theatre, but they should name the theatre after Eric Morecambe. If you've died there, that should be automatic, shouldn't it?
It's funny getting older, because like when you think of, I think it'd be the same for you. Like Eric Morecambe, that's a giant, isn't it?
Yeah.
An absolute giant, but I can already feel I'm not going to feel his memory fading.
Yeah.
So it's a bit sad, isn't it?
It is, but he's lasted longer than a lot. You know, there's really famous people who would be his contemporaries who that's show business, isn't it? Show business, you can be a huge star and then just completely forgotten within 10, 15 years.
Yeah.
So, you know.
I don't think it happens so quickly to footballers, for example.
No. Maybe, yeah. But the younger generation, but then they are very much footballers a certain period of time. So your dad might go, "Oh, there was this great footballer 20 years ago," but you wouldn't know him yourself. So,
did your dad used to make you watch comics who weren't funny? Or did seem to.
My dad wasn't very interested in comedy, so yeah.
What was he interested in?
Mathematics.
I'm not laughing at maths. I know how important it is, but
I mean, he's still with us. Luckily, he's but he was very. I remember because I'd get book tokens and I'd buy Charlie Brown books, and my dad was really disappointed with that because he wanted me to buy a proper book.
Yeah.
But as it turns out, that was what I was interested. You know, I knew at that stage that I wanted to do comedy. So they didn't dissuade me, but they didn't.
Oh shit, Richard, you knew really early.
Yeah, I knew I was really interested in comedy very early on. Yeah, so and I really liked people who made me laugh, and I don't think I was thinking, oh, I'm going to be a comedian. I wanted to be a clown when I was like 5 or 6. You know, so I was aware that I loved making people laugh. Yeah. And even when they just laughed at something where I was making a mistake, I still loved
like that feeling.
Yeah, and so I think I was gravitating towards that. So yeah.
What would you have been called as a clown? Because you can be any. I think I'd have been Cracker Barrel. He'd be fun, wouldn't he?
I don't even know what. I mean, I just remember seeing clowns at a circus. I remember being at a circus and I think I was scared of the clowns, which I know is the thing, isn't it? And my main memory of the circus is walking around the tent with someone else, like one of my family. I can't remember who it was, because I was too scared to be in there and pass in a cage with a tiger in it.
Was this in Middlesbrough, Richard?
It wouldn't have been in Middlesbrough. No. It would have been in Yorkshire.
In Yorkshire.
And
Smarts or something.
Yeah, it would have been something like that. But that's my only. I don't remember anything else that went on inside the big top. And I remember walking around the edge because I was too scared. I was a very nervous child.
But that fear sort of enticed you in a way.
Maybe it did.
It's weird, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm drawn to fire. I've burnt 2 buildings. It's the weirdest thing, isn't it?
What's the second one? So you burnt down your house. We talked about this last time with fireworks.
Yeah.
What was the other time?
Sorry, I've made that mistake because my son said to me last night, you've been involved in 2 major fires.
Oh, okay.
So sorry, I burnt my house down, my family home. But have you read in the book where I came home to the homeless hostel and it was gone?
Oh yes, of course. Yeah.
So, Southampton Way, Peckham.
Yeah.
It's funny that, isn't it? Like I lived in a homeless hostel. I was on telly doing Big Night Out, and got a request from Lloyd Grossman's mob to do, what was that called, Behind the Keyhole?
Yes.
And it's fucking homeless hostel. Homeless hostel in Peckham. Who was tempted, who lives here? Who would they have guessed?
That's great. But it was, I mean, with the book covers it brilliantly, but it is sort of astonishing. I mean, what I love about the book is within it there's like 4 or 5 points where if something else had happened...
Oh, I'm so sorry, Richard.
Yeah.
But this could be, and it's yours to have if you think there's anything in it.
Yeah.
Forget the who lives here. What about who is the landlord?
Yeah.
You get 3 landlords lined up and show 3 different properties. That would be a decent show.
Good, yeah.
So, and I do apologise.
That's right. Honestly, if you have any ideas for shows, just let me. The thing you can get that commission tomorrow. You just go in and you'll get that commission. There's all these points where, and what's I think and we were just talking beforehand. I think the sort of seminal point of your life, the changing point in your life, was when you were living in one of these. Was it the same place?
It was in the hostel. Yeah,
the hostel.
Yeah.
And your girlfriend had moved in, and it sort of wasn't going great, but you came home to surprise her one lunchtime. Yes. She was having sex with somebody else in your bed.
She was having it off, as it were, with a combination farmer stroke Hell's Angel. A really unusual looking unit, but very efficient. I had a little BHS suit on and a plastic. Oh fuck, man! I thought, yeah, you're quite right. But yes, that was the moment my life changed in many ways. Yeah.
And so often, like a negative thing or a big choice, and you'd chucked your girlfriend out, unsurprisingly, and were depressed, and an old school friend from Middlesbrough got in touch out of nowhere and invited you to go to see the big
someone I would never have gone out with.
Yeah.
Who got my address off my mum back home, but I didn't know a soul in London, and the girlfriend had gone, so I thought, I'll go to this Dick Reeves big night out.
And if you hadn't had that terrible thing happen, that awful thing happen, and if you hadn't decided to go that night, which you nearly didn't, then that's.
Well, I think one chance was I would have been so inspired by the Hell's Angel farmer that I would have maybe started my own range of agricultural equipment that was single-seater with handlebars. But no, it's funny, like writing a book like that, you'd start to see the patterns, and then find out that there usually isn't one. It's just that chance, that...
But it is just like, it literally is sliding doors in the sense that is one of the things that happens in sliding doors. It is that she comes home and finds him fucking someone else and her life changes. But there's also, there's an extraordinary thing where you've got two university places and you haven't decided which one to go to. Yeah. And you're heading down towards either Leicester or Cambridge, and you make your decision which university you're going to go to on the motorway. Yeah, but it was so difficult when you read the book. Like my mum was so important to me, and it would have meant so much to her if I'd gone to Cambridge. But there was not a drop of me wanting to go. I wanted to go to Leicester to do this welfare law degree. I just couldn't tell her, so that's why that happened. I couldn't tell her to her face that I was on the way to Leicester. So you sort of knew, but you hadn't turned down the Cambridge might still be waiting for you to turn up. There might be a room there. So but again, I think if you'd got to Cambridge, that's such a different. Your life is so different anyway when you make those decisions. Yeah, I mean, I think anyone who gets to my age will be able to, if they did that exercise, they'll find out. Oh fuck, that's the key point. That was the key. And just meeting your partner is always an extraordinary bit of chance, isn't it? It is, extraordinary. But it's it makes you wonder how many Bob Mortimer quality comedians are out there in the world who don't happen to go into. It's true because certainly when I was 30 and dealing with the broadcasters then, Richard, there could have been 1,000, but how you got seen, how you could have penetrated that building, it's different now. Yeah. I know you're a little bit passionate about, why bother with. I've seen tweets of you. Am I saying the right thing? Yeah. You, there's different ways now, isn't there? I think that there's more sort of democracy to it in a sense. Yeah. Because things are so easy to now. It's easy to make stuff. Yeah. And the equipment isn't too expensive. You can borrow it or nick it, and you've got a chance of making your own thing without someone interfering and telling you what to do. But I mean, all your stuff, it feels like you were left to do what you wanted to do. And what I love about the book is just saying the way we do it is we don't want to tell you what's going to happen in the show. We'll just do the show and you can move the cameras around, get enough cameras to cover it. No one would ever talk to people in TV like that unless they were just coming from because you would think, oh, I've got to fit in and do. You just did your own thing, and they've always let you do your own.
Yeah,
thing.
We didn't know the rules when we started, because I think we'd only maybe been in comedy 16 weeks, something like that. No, it's true. It's amazing.
I mean, that's why you're living in a home. I can't think of anybody who has walked, from going to see a comedy show to being on TV in such a short period of time, because you were on Jonathan Ross's shows as a sort of characters.
The first thing,
within weeks.
I mean, I don't know if you had walked into that room and seen Vic Reeves like I did. I think it all makes sense then. He was extraordinary. He is a one-off vision. He's a total one-off. So if you'd been there, it makes sense.
But also, what I don't think you say in the book, because you're incredibly modest, and if you love Bob now, which I know you do, you'll read the book and you'll love him even more, because you find out what a decent person you are, but also the struggles you've been through as well. But he must have looked at you. It's not just you're a bloke. Oh, you present this check in this sketch. Maybe it was to begin with, but he saw something in you. He realised equally that you were something incredibly special, and it is the two of you coming together. However well formed he was at that point, is what's made this endure and work is your two personalities.
Yeah, no, I don't underestimate me role, Richard. I never mean it to be like that. It's just that you kind of had to have seen him. He probably did need someone to pick out the best bits, tell him this, tell him that. But I think I say in the book, I suppose I was just like an amateur producer at the moment, because I was a solicitor at the time. This wasn't a career move or anything. This was just this one night I had in my life where there was some pleasure. This Thursday night down at a pub in New Cross, performing in a room at the back, made everything else worthwhile. It was that was the end game. We didn't perform anywhere else.
No,
we weren't on the comedy circuit or anything. But
but I think in that sense it is like that's why you were sort of, because you were detached from everything, and it was sort of like the internet before the internet. You were doing your own insane stuff and what I love is you saying that you didn't care if something worked or didn't work, and Vic Reeves didn't care if people were talking during a set. They usually wouldn't, but if they did, he would just get on with it. And that's how you've got it. That's how you make your own thing. That's how you create your own thing. And then TV companies fighting over you to get you on TV and allowing you to just get on with it, which doesn't really happen so much anymore.
But the likes of Vic, someone who's got an idea that's out of the blue. Does Paradigm fit here or not, Richard?
I don't really know what that means.
But I mean, it was gobsmacking. I know, but of course television companies were going to say, what the fuck's, what's this? I don't know that. I don't know if there's been one since, Jim. Don't know. There might be, but
I think people come along, but it's that it completely captured this. I mean, I think like the young ones captured the comedy of that generation. I think Vic and Bob and everything you did together sort of captured that mood, and people were ready for it. But it wasn't like often that when something's a big success, there's been a couple of things that have come before that have got people used to it that haven't been as successful. I don't think there was with this. I think this was the original article coming in, and maybe Viz a little bit, but it wasn't really.
Viz for sure,
But it was, but it wasn't really the same. It wasn't the same sort of thing. But there was I suppose the element of showbiz and the northeast as far as you can go. But no, I knew the book was going to be great, and the thing that really made me laugh the most in the book was you going to your GP's very early on when you were getting diagnosed, and being obsessed with his sink.
Oh, I thought you were going to talk about Dr. Longbottom.
Well, there's that as well. But the bit about the sink, I just thought and that's again, I think where there's a very low sink in the GP's room.
Low. I think probably this high. And your eye's drawn to it. He's got computers, digital equipment and that, but there's a fucking low sink. And that's what's wrong. And he's a lovely man. And he won't tell me.
That's what I like about it. I like him not telling you. I like you really wanting to know.
He won't tell me that, and he plays the bass guitar. That's all I know about my doctor. And it's interesting, you don't know much about your doctors, do you?
No.
So it was really interesting. I went home and said to the wife, he said, you know, Dr. Bob plays the bass guitar. And it felt like special info. But you know nothing about them, do you?
It's true. Do you think he has a low sync to distract people away? Because it's, you know, you're going in with quite a serious issue, and you're thinking about sync rather than about whether your heart's going to be beating in 2 months' time. Maybe that's his ploy.
You know, they say that thing, as soon as you go to the doctor, you're not ill.
Yeah.
Well, that's the case. You walk in, see sync. I can't remember where I came from. That's a very low sync. And he gives you some aspirin. And did you used to get the Linctus when you were young? God, I'm getting all observant. You know, like, no. Do you remember? Remember the Linctus? It was
yeah.
They'd give it to children, so they thought that something was, that they were important.
Yeah,
something was being done. Tasted like black currants, isn't it?
Yeah, makes sense. Yeah.
Did you know that if you sneeze and fart at the same time, you take a screenshot of yourself? Lol. LAPD looking at Pat's dancing.
Oh dear, very good.
I might have found myself in a unique situation where it would be useful to coil.
So I'm glad you're all okay then. So everything's it's been again, but the triple bypass has turned out to be like you've taken it in a positive way, and it's made you. And I've been through as you're the first guest I've had who actually beats me in surgery chess, which I'm annoyed, or top trumps, which I'm annoyed about. Jay Rayner had some kind of hip replacement. He goes, I go, fuck off. I've had a ball off. Come on. But it's a pretty full-on thing. And I'm reading the book. You know, I went through similar feelings about as you realise your own mortality, and and it's sort of getting through it as well is
it's quite a gift actually, Richard, isn't it?
Yeah.
It is a gift in a way to, you know, like, I mean, I know it's really obvious, but yeah, when you've had that little brush, even if it's a bit, you know, not real, but it's real to you, it does concentrate the mind and make you realise what's important.
Yeah.
What's important at the moment to me is I've started rambling, you know, walking.
Okay.
And I would never have done that without it, because you've got to keep a bit fit.
Yeah.
And you can buy badges for your walking stick. So I'm gonna cover it. But
badges of places you've been to or of achievements.
Well, I think you were meant to have walked this area, but I've driven through the M6, so that gives me Cumbria and some others.
Okay.
But I only mean that sounds silly, but like, in a way your world shrinks, and you do appreciate that you can get badges for a walking stick. Or your favourite cup.
Yeah.
That was the one that hit me, Richard, when I got back, and the severity of the diagnosis hit me. I'd noticed for the first time things like my little tea towel that had been with me a long time, or the egg cup.
Yeah.
That I think maybe actually goes right back to my childhood home. God, they made me weep.
Yeah.
You know, and it's not a bad lesson to have if you get away with it.
Yeah.
You know.
Did you feel? Well, I did. I cried once after as I got the phone call saying there was something in there. But I feel like it was because my son was laughing in the next room, and I was, I started thinking about the future without me being in the picture. But it was very quickly my own self-indulgence rather than worrying about him. It was like, he won't remember. I put in all this fucking work and he won't remember. He's not going to remember who I am. It's going to be nothing. There'll be some other bloke in here. It'll be his dad. Yeah. He'll be spending my money that I've earned.
And did you picture that man? And was he gorgeous? Like a sea captain.
Definitely would be.
Polo neck. You almost fancied him yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. And I can't blame him. So, you sort of feel sorry for yourself as well, obviously, because it's it's a weird thing, but it's so many positives for me have come out of mine's really is a minor brush, I think, and the reading what happened to you and everything you had to go through and the severity of it. It's much more so, but the positives that come out and the positives that have come out for you, which is obviously Paul Whitehouse.
Yeah, doing the
picking you out of the depression. You're a little bit depressed after, a bit lethargic maybe afterwards, and he took you out.
I think it's not like clinical depression, but it's quite a big up, and you've got this big slit down your chest. You feel very vulnerable, and only 3 months of sitting on the sofa can so quickly become 6.
Yeah.
And become, you just feel safe there. There's a phone, your wife's there to look after you, And it was Paul who insisted, no, you have to get out, because he's had heart problems.
Yeah.
He knew that was one of the first little tiny steps, was just get out. So yeah, did you keep your ball?
Well, I really wish when I went for the thing, she said, you're gonna have to take it off. I wanted to say, can I keep it? If you've got any questions, can I have it? Because I thought it was a good price for Taskmaster, was my my initial feeling about it, and I didn't. I didn't ask, and I wish I'd asked her. But I think if you've got religious reasons that you have to be buried with all your bits,
you can have it.
You can have it back. But I think otherwise you can't have it.
No, it is one of the Well, it's a shame.
It's very coiled. It's a coil. It's a part of you that's very coiled.
I mean, the terrible thought is they probably just put it in the bin.
Yeah. I like to think there's in a sort of celebrity section museum of the. This is the testament. Robin Asquith, who was on recently, he'd had something taken off at the same, an appendix or something. I can't remember what it was, at the same place. So they could have a little celebrity section of bits they've taken off of museum. I'd pay to go and see that, wouldn't you?
I'd pay to go and see famous testes.
Yeah. Not just testes, but there would be a few testes in there.
Yeah, I would. It's like if what it would be, that thing's like if there was a booth with a curtain, just a simple curtain, and it said Elvis's testicle in here.
Yeah.
20 pence.
Yeah.
And it wouldn't be, but you'd have to open that curtain, wouldn't you?
It'd be worth 20p. The thing I liked about the thing the nurse said to you about after you'd had, so when you have this triple bypass, they stop your heart for quite a while. They have to stop your heart.
Yeah, my heart was stopped for 30. They inject it with the stuff they use to on death row is potassium or something.
Right.
To stop it because they can't sew it when it's bouncing.
Yeah,
so it's 32 minutes it was stopped.
Yeah. And the quote was, nobody's the same after another human being has physically touched their heart.
Yeah, that's what she said, and that's how I felt at the time. Right. But no longer.
No longer?
No. Now my thoughts are much more of ambrosia cream dries. Do you know all the good stuff? Hot dog sausages.
How do you know the surgeon wasn't like a big rambler and he's touched your heart and that's what's...
No, that is a thought.
It could be that.
This anymore, we're going to be even more violent than you.
Like you and me, working as a team, enjoy new challenges and help create positive
way to keep your finances on track, even when it's so far, and subscribe so
it's on Netflix or whatever.
Do you watch Real Housewives?
No.
Anyone watch Real Housewives? It's just the best, isn't it? Are you watching Erica at the moment? Doing Beverly Hills. That's a good one. Yeah. Try Potomac. Better than you might think. And the salt. Sorry.
It's all right. No,
but it's all life is there, Richard. Yeah. Shakespearean, really. Yeah. But people, what do you think of this, Richard? Like, I've gone through, you're the same, 20, 30 years of TV and executives and meetings and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Do you think there's many of those people you meet that actually watch telly?
I don't. I think you're absolutely right. I think there's I think the older you get, the more you really spot the chances amongst them. And the thing I was working on, which was talking to you backstage, all the production staff just complete chance. They'd have no idea. You'd tell them it's whatever the host said they would laugh at, and then you'd go, yeah, that's not funny. They go, oh, okay. Yeah. They didn't know what was funny and what wasn't.
Yeah.
And and you spot that a lot. And there's very rare people. See, Richard Osman, who I'm a massive fan of, he loves television. He absolutely adores television. He loves populist television. He loves, he loves non-populist television as well. But he's not ashamed by the idea of creating something that would be popular.
It's weird
for lots of people, which I feel like
it's a weird snobbery. Yeah. It's like I had son. I've got 2 sons, not 2 daughters. But have you seen the show Teen Mom?
No.
If I had daughters, I would consider it the most essential viewing they should watch. But if I say to TV execs, I say, "I'll watch it. Have you seen Teen Mom or Below Deck or Real Housewives?"
Yeah.
And they laugh. But that's their business. It's weird. I've always found it.
It is strange. But you're in this nice position where you and Paul have this idea for a show and you're passionate about it, and it's a great idea.
Yeah.
But you go in and someone goes, yeah, okay, go on, and that doesn't happen much to people. But like, it is such a beautiful show, the Gone Fishing. It's. I just watched the first 2 of the new series today, and it's gentle but in a lovely way. But it's also you guys talking about stuff that men often don't talk about, and to put that in a popular show, which is look at the beautiful scenery, look at the fun fish, but you can do great stuff with that format.
Well, we didn't know that, Richard. It's that is just by chance. It's like we asked when we I shouldn't think anyone here has even seen Gone Fishing, so but it's like we said we don't want a voiceover.
Yeah.
And that's a good tactic in 2 ways. One, it means there's no voiceover, so it'll be a better show. And 2, it means that a TV exec will go, no voiceover, right? And they think that that sort of.
I do, but now you've said it, I really want a sarcastic man to voice over Gone Fishing. And Bob and Paul, I think they're clever. They've gone here, and it would absolutely ruin it.
You're
be
more
brilliant.
than welcome to do it. I'd like to because it's a very vulnerable show. It just sits on that thin line between indulgence or sentimentality and not.
Yeah, but it's Barry Cryer was a guest last week, and I think all these things hinge around whether you like the people involved in them. And the thing, it'd be very hard not to love you and Paul together. It's an incredible, 2 of the nicest people in the world. But it's just such a, there's the relationship is real. And the banter is real, and so some of it, when it's corny, it's funny, and when it's funny, it's funny. So you absolutely can't lose. But also, I think that's important to see 2 men talking about stuff.
Yeah, we didn't mean to. We didn't mean to, and it goes back to the hard thing, So when you're fishing, we're there for 8 hours. So for an hour, we're doing the banter, they make each other laugh, type of thing. But then 4 or 5 hours in, like the gentleness, the environment and the river and that, so suddenly you feel a bit comfortable. So how's your heart, Paul? How's it getting on? Didn't think that would be used,
right?
But they sprinkled a bit of it in the first series, and lo and behold, that seems to be part of the equation, really.
Yeah.
That the public wouldn't, that sounds bad, but that you wouldn't quite realise is we just go and sit and fish for 6 hours. So you have a film crew, a percentage of which has nothing to do. So they go and film beautiful shots of, it's not just a B-roll. We are spending hours doing that stuff.
Yeah.
So it is a rather pretty show as well, but it's just by chance.
There's an amazing shot of you, which you're sort of thinking, how long did this shot set up? And maybe didn't take any time at all. But where you spot a rainbow, and then the camera has you 2 both cycling past the rainbow, and the camera zooms in on the rainbow. It's absolutely astonishing photography. Yeah. It's beautiful. I don't know how long it took you to do it, or whether you had to retake that.
I think it just happened, Richard. Yeah. You go to these beautiful places, and it's a good lesson in life. Go towards beauty and good things. Good things will happen. I'll tell another joke. I have a joke, but
Good, old jokes, it says on the front.
love a joke.
I love a good joke. I love to be surprised by a joke. Your last joke was absolutely excellent.
Oh, did you like that?
I did absolutely excellent.
Do you like... I put so much petrol in my car the other day, I couldn't get in it. I usually tell these like a Peter Beardsley, you know. This was a tricky one. Not many people like this one.
Okay.
I see eggs are going up again. That will surprise a few chickens. I'll stop there.
Oh dear. The amazing story from the book that I hadn't heard before, and you don't have to tell all the stories from the book, so you don't need to tell it again if you don't want to, but you can, is that you were there when Jarvis Cocker mooned Michael Jackson and were heavily involved in this.
But I mean, the reason I was involved was kind of because I wasn't there in the Brits, it's a dull old thing, that.
Yeah. And
so I was around the back with Ant from Pulp.
Okay.
Makes me sound part of the scene, doesn't it?
It does.
And I was in the same porter cabin dressing room as Jarvis. And Ant came. This is quite a long story, shall I?
Yeah, just no good.
And Ant came. I'll keep it short. Ant came and said, Michael Jackson's people have arrested Jarvis, which of course they can't. An arrest can only be effected by the police or a citizen in very restricted circumstances. So, and I was pissed. And throughout my career as a solicitor, I was so much better when I was drunk. It's very intimidating. No, police stations is very, very intimidating. And I used to have like what would they call it before phones? A buzzer?
Oh yeah, about
a pager. I used to have a pager thing, and so I'd be in the pub. Fuck! I've got to go to Campbell Police Station. And if I'd had a few hours, good. I want to see my client. Yeah, in a couple of hours. No, now. And anyway, so I was a bit drunk. So I went up to. I mean, it really was like men, and you know, there was black suits,
right,
all surrounding this portal cam. I said, I want to see me mate. I could have kept it short by not saying that bit. So I apologise for that. But I wasn't allowed to. But eventually there was a lovely female WPC who I said, look, and I said, I'm Jarvis's solicitor. I'm a solicitor and I'd like to see Jarvis, and she got me through in to see Jarvis after a lot of palaver. I had no idea what had gone on.
Yeah.
I mean, I thought the worst, maybe he's had a fight, maybe there's something, I don't know. And so I got in there and said, and he was sat on this little sofa. I said, Jarvis, what is going on? He says, I showed me bottom to Michael Jackson. What have you done, Jarvis? I showed me bottom. Oh, fuck. But but they were very, very serious. It all was a bit unpleasant.
Yeah.
And the police were lovely, and we agreed at the end that they said, can we arrest him? But you come along with him. We'll just go to the station and just book him out. We just need to get him away from these.
I mean, it's
people.
Quite scary that they weren't letting, and even the police, they weren't really.
The police were a bit frightened. Yeah. They had like a spokesman, you know, like American.
Yeah.
And that is, I mean, because of the movies, that's quite intimidating.
Yeah.
It's not so intimidating if it's someone from Malta.
But what I love is you still feel, and maybe this is because of, I mean, it's because you're a nice person, but also the way you got into show business, it still feels like all your encounters with showbiz people are still like what a regular person would do if they were thrown into these weird situations.
Yeah.
And you talk about I mean, I used to do this a bit when you meet people at parties and stuff, and you talk about you thinking you're a wank and you've said the wrong thing, but everything. Yeah. So you talked to Sinead O'Connor early on.
Yeah.
And what did you say to her, Bob?
Well, we were almost queuing up to try and say Sinead was in the flesh, and that nothing compares to you time. She was in the flesh, extraordinary looking woman.
Sure. And every
fella. We were at Paramount City.
Okay.
Around there. we're almost queued, as Jules Holland and Jonathan Ross said, we're queuing up to try and talk to them. And when it came to my turn, I said, "Have you got a local shop that's convenient to you, Sinead?" And I wasn't trying to be glib or anything. It's just fuck.
It's so good though. There's so much. It's so much better than anything. But I would. There was. We met the Manic Street Preachers at something, and we James Dean Bradford, isn't it? Is that his name? Yeah, the lead singer, and he's quite serious.
Yeah.
And I went up to him and said, "You know that song you've got, Kevin Carter, which is about the photographer who took all the pictures of the famines and stuff." I said, "Do you think that would have been better if you'd made it about Kevin Costner? That might have been a bit more commercially successful." And he just looked at me. He was really cross and just looked. He said, "Yeah, it's funny." But like, it's, you know, I would do that all the time. It used to really annoy Stu because he would want to be cool all the time, and I would always just try.
I can remember making Mark Lamar go up to Brad Pitt and ask Brad Pitt, "Brad, how many murders were there in the film 7? And he was lovely about it.
Yeah. But it's, and the one those you talk to a cellist and ask her, she's an amazing cellist, and ask her if you
I asked her, yeah, something like, if did you bring? Are you going home in a van or something? No, but those little things. Sinead O'Connor very kindly sent me a little video saying, which, you know, these things play on your mind.
Yeah.
She did send me a little video saying, "Bob, I have absolutely no memory of it whatsoever. Don't worry about it."
But also, she should feel bad for not going, I'm going to marry this guy. The guy who asked me about the local shop, this is the guy I should be with the rest of my life. But it's also that sense of fun, and you know, there's so many hijinks and weird situations you find yourself in this book, and and I'm sure you've only touch the surface of the.
Yeah, I mean, it was doing that. The show Would I Lie to You? Because they're very ordinary little stories, really. But people have enjoyed them. So that was what made me write the book. To be honest, I thought, well, if that's all people want.
But you say in the book there's some things that are there things that are lies in the book? Because
I've got 2 chapters in the book where you have to work out which are the lies.
But you don't tell us which ones are the lies.
No, what did you think of the first lie section?
I couldn't think. That I couldn't believe that one.
Right.
And the second section, there was something that just didn't. I can't remember what it was now. There was one I was. Yeah. Well, I don't want to spoil the fun for everyone else either.
But I'm not telling you.
Oh no, good. There was the second one. I think I might have got the second one, but only because I just think that you can't have made up the horse in the house. See, it's so difficult. That's why I feel sorry for David Mitchell, because it's absolutely impossible to judge. It's absolutely genius when it happens.
But if you had the local witch's house, we've all got one, haven't we? From the past. Wouldn't you creep round the back with your?
Well, I didn't. I was scared. There was a local. It's a very sad story. It was later became good friends of the family. There was a guy who had alopecia or something, so he looked very strange to a child. He was very upset, and he lost his wife in a plane crash. So he was devastated. Obviously, this guy, and he lived in this dark house with just trees in the garden, just the whole garden. It wasn't a big garden, but just these massive trees and this very frightening house. And I just ran every time I walked past when I walked to school, and I would have to run past the house.
Yeah.
So I would never have dared.
No part of you with your mates later on said, "Let's penetrate that."
No, let's go in and see if there's a horse in there. No. That's why I found it difficult to believe, because I was absolutely terrified about the whole thing. Let me ask you some would you rather emergency questions, seeing I've got them here from my new book, which I reckon is going to do as well as yours. I think it's going to be a very close tussle at the top of the.
I was going to bring you a book tonight, Richard, because I've always been a fan of yours, but then I thought it felt a bit weird, like that you'd want a book.
I'm a massive fan of yours. I'd of course love to have. I've got a PDF of your book.
You've got a PDF, yeah.
Which is lovely to have. And
do you understand the NFT thing? Is it NFT?
I know what you mean. The National Film Theatre. The thing where people have a picture and it's in a thing and you spend $5 million and it doesn't exist, that thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really understand why anyone buys it, but...
But would you like that PDF for $5 million?
I'd like it. If that was the only PDF and it was worth £5 million, I would be very happy to have it. But you know what? In a way, no, it's not worth £5 million. I was going to say it's true. We're not worth £5 million. I'm going to ask you this. There's a question I wanted to ask you. I was trying some observation comedy on the train on the way up. Would this one work, Richard? Oh, I'm genuinely... God, fuck it. I saw Richard live. I'm going to say 10 years, but it's probably freaking 15 or whatever. And you were on Oxford Street? Yeah. The famous rock place. The 100 Club, was that there? Something like that, yeah. And you had a mixed sort of audience, and you were saying, does anyone remember the Mars bar? Yeah. Well, you're lucky to see that. I didn't do that one very much. But the fucking thing is after all, because you didn't have fucking rabbit hole, and after a while, there was people saying, they still sell it! They still sell it! Don't be stupid, do you remember it? Fuck, it was funny. So I'm asking you in terms of as a top observation comic. Yeah, I'm very good at that observation. I thought, have you ever noticed? You go into a supermarket, right, and you bend down to pick up a basket, and there's a receipt in it. You don't want it, do you? It's tarnished. Is that observation comedy? See, there you go. Yeah, you're giving it. Okay, this is my would you rather question. It's not the one I wanted to ask you, but it's another one. Would you rather have to live the rest of your life with Emu from Rod, Hull and Emu grafted onto your arm, and you have to keep him moving and reacting at all times, even when you're on your own? He can sleep if you're asleep, you can sleep, but he's got to... Or have to have a full bath every day, and once it's over, have to drink all the bath water before you're allowed to do anything else. Well, when you were explaining the Emu one, I was thinking, no. Never. I have to manipulate him constantly. He's got to be alive. And he's on your... So you've lost an arm. It's a good one, Richard. It is good. If the bath's got bath water in it. Yeah, and someone else did say it would kill you to drink that amount of bath water. I'm going to have to take the freaking emu, aren't I? You're going to have to take the emu. What a life. Oh well. This is what I wanted to ask you. Would you rather have the ability to produce honey from a special honey stomach? So it's a new thing in this honey stomach. And I'll tell you the conditions later. Or be able to make a pearl in your kidney every 10 years. You would sick the honey up through your mouth, producing 1 kilogram of honey per day that you could eat or sell to unsuspecting members of the public. Each pearl would be worth $8,000 US. But you'd have to pass it with your urine via your urethra. Well, I think that's easy, isn't it? Yeah. I'm a honey man. Yeah. I don't see the downside of the honey. I think you'd make more money from the honey as well. Eventually, yeah. Yeah, because I think it's a kilo a day. There'd be honey outlets all over with... So it comes out of your mouth? Yeah, well, you just stick it up. I think I imagine, bees do. I haven't really looked into it. So I imagine bees have a honey-making stomach of some kind. And we buy that and eat that. Talking of honey, my family suffers from hay fever, and I heard on the radio that if you have the local honey, it stops the hay fever. Okay, yeah. It turns out it is quite true. It does actually work, yeah. Okay. I once, someone when I was at school put a mashed potato scoop under the custard of my apple pie and custard, and I ate it, and I instantly spewed. I've never, there was no I remember, just that surprise. The texture of it. So, is there anyone you want to make instantly spew? Because there's the technique. Well, you could make it spew again. That I made that. Do you like the honey? Nice honey. I made that in my honey, and then you could sick up a bit. Show them how you sick it up. That would probably make them sick, wouldn't it? Yeah. No, but they'd probably stab you. They might well do.
You've got scribblings on your book, like a mad professor sort of approach.
I know.
to
Well,
life.
my writing's very poor, so you know that's. I've actually printed some because I made some notes on the computer and printed that up. Fight with Hurricane Higgins. That's a very good story. I'm not going to ask you to tell it. They'll have to buy the book. You had a fight with Hurricane Higgins.
When I see that list, I can imagine you furiously waddling round the supermarket, and all you come out with is a huge box of washing powder and a can of lilt. And you go back to your wife and say, I've got everything that was on this fucking list.
Do you... the thing that struck me in the fishing thing, and the book's called And Away, which is obviously from the fishing show, is when you let the fish back into the water.
Yeah.
And let them live.
Let them live, yeah.
Is that why you... Is that because you feel that happened to you? Were you let back into the water?
I suppose that's kind of my conceit, yeah.
Yeah.
I was out of the water struggling, and then some kind man, maybe the surgeon, said, off you go again.
It's nice because you don't say that, but you realise that as you read it.
It's something like that,
It is, yeah. It's nice.
I was going to call it Cracker Barrel, a life in a clown car. But And Away,
Yeah. It's nice. It was nice that you let some of the fish survive.
Yeah, no, we let them all survive. Yeah. It's a weird one, fishing. It's a tricky one.
Yeah.
We do it super safe, best we can, barbless hooks and everything.
Right.
But still, I mean, the majority of the hooks, as soon as you take the pressure off, if you use a barbless one, it just slips out. So this is why Paul's always saying don't wind and keep your rod up and everything, because it'll just go. But yeah, it's a difficult one. The fishermen, the one thing I've learned is that they really look after the river. No one gives a shit. Honestly, 17 million tonnes of raw sewage in the Thames every year. No one gives a shit.
It's ironic, isn't it?
That really is ironic, isn't it? Fuck, if you're struggling to tell what irony is, there you go. That's ironic, fuck yeah. So that's my little justification, you know.
No, but it is. It's so, you know. I mean, it's a wise show. It's sort of nice to see two funny guys still being funny, but being a bit philosophical, and the books are philosophical as well. And you've been through some. I mean, you lost your dad very young, which is, you know, it's that weird thing. It's the thing from the reverse, isn't it? That I was worried about leaving my kids without them knowing who I was.
Yeah.
And then it's obviously horrible the other way around. It's a terrible thing the other way around, and for you not to know your dad. And
the horrible thing is, well, this sound like it's just fucked. I'm just saying it, but like you won't have been able to select what memories your kids will have of you either. You know, they're very selective. So I lost my dad when I was young, but I have so few memories of him, but one of the memories is that our toilet was downstairs. Our toilet was at the bottom of the stairs, and one day I went down the stairs just as I'm gonna leave it there.
I 100% know if I died now that all my kids would say about me is I did really stinky farts. I absolutely know that's all that they would say about me. That's all they remember about me now. That's it.
And taking your kids on holiday when they're young as well, they've no memory of it.
No.
Mine are older now. That's what the main thing they criticise me for is why did you take us to Mallorca when we were two? What the fuck was that about?
But it's weird. My daughter was playing with her iPad. You know, they start with these iPads. They take loads of photos and they film themselves all the time, right? As soon as they understand they can film themselves, they start filming themselves. And my daughter went back on the iPad and found the photos and the bits of films and stuff she'd done. And it just makes you think, why didn't we film every single second? Because suddenly seeing a 6-year-old looking at a 2-year-old, a 3-year-old, and they get so much joy out of watching themselves, but so do you. And you go, oh. Yeah. There's a 3-second clip, and you go, "Oh, wow!" You know,
and you can say, "Look at me, happy."
Well, there's a bit where my daughter, she loves her mum, but I think she likes me, but she makes out she doesn't like me.
Right.
And there's just a bit where there's like a 2 or 3, and I've forgotten it. She goes, "I love you, Daddy," and it just made me go, "Oh, man, you did. See, I see you love me at one point."
I think that's right. I think that's true. You know, I think the one who pretends not to like you is the one who likes you.
I think so. She does a good impression sometimes of. But she'll say something horrific, and then she goes, "I was joking. I was trying to do a joke." So she's trying to get to grips with the way comedy works, and you know, and understands that it's the wrong thing to say is to say, "I hate you."
Do you have aspirations for her? Would you like her to be able to coil? Because you've got to start working young on that sort of shit.
Well, I'm hoping my son will learn to retract his penis.
Retract and coil? Fuck.
They can both do. What a double act that'll be. I don't know. I'd like that. You know, you don't. I kind of like them being funny. They both are funny, but I don't know whether I'd wish the life on them. But as long as they're funny and happy, it's I want them to have a good sense of humour, and that's. And my wife gets cross with me when I do a joke that they fail to understand, or if I'm too mean and they take it seriously, which happens sometimes, and then my wife will get cross with me. But I want them to know that when you love each other, you can josh around with each other and be you know, and that's a good.
It's very difficult to be a parent and not try to be a mate, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's so tricky. I think our generation was the first to fail at it. Yeah. No, it's true. I like those because I'm old. You can say it and people don't think you're a wanker. It's always weird. You can get away with saying shit like, you know, you can only be as happy as your happiest child, and people don't criticise you for it.
But it also feels like it feels for both of you guys. You've kind of lived this life where you've been silly, childish adults. And it does sort of weirdly feel you get into your 60s, and that confers that kind of Shakespeare fool wisdom on you, though, as well.
Yeah, it's weird because it's not true. No, because it isn't true, is it? I think that the youngsters these days, are they the wisest youngsters we've ever had?
Yeah, well, yeah.
It's true, though, isn't it?
Yeah.
You've got to listen to them, man. And I would never have. I don't think my parents would have said that.
No, well, unfortunately, yeah. I think it's. I'm not sure the world is listening as much as it should do.
But it's I think there's a lot of people said there's real hope in the youngsters. I think that sort of like you'll follow your parent thing has been broken a little bit.
Yeah.
I think that's what's liberated them to an extent.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'll do a joke.
Do another joke.
See, it wasn't worth saying. Do you want a joke?
I love jokes. Yeah, I like you being serious as well, though. So that's, you know, I'm happy with it all.
I went to the doctor the other day, and he said, "You've got hypochondria." I said, "Oh God, not that as well." So that's another lol.
It's good. I wish all my guests would come with a little joke book. It would make life a lot easier. I was going to ask you, is the film about we talked about Michael Jackson, but you're doing it's the film about
we're filming it in March.
Yeah, so it's about some collectors looking for Michael Jackson's training glove.
Yeah, he had a training glove.
Okay.
And a few people knew of it, but it was what gave him his special powers.
Yeah.
To entrance the globe. And a collector's got it, and we're hoping to have a big star in it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm available.
Maybe Orion. A big. So we're hopeful.
Yeah. So that'd be very exciting. Get Brad Pitt in it. That'd be good. Good. It's a good start.
You look a bit like Brad Pitt.
I know.
Do people say you do?
Well, a taxi driver once thought I was Brad Pitt.
Right.
Like I was going to the Riverside in Hammersmith for some reason in the back of his cab, and he was going, "Yeah, you Brad Pitt," and I was going, I'm not. No.
I hadn't noticed before.
Yeah.
Fuck you do.
Well, he's trying to look like me. I think he's seen me, and he's because he used to have a different look, and then he's sort of gone down my route because I think he's single again, and he's got to try and get the ladies. So why not? I'm a good-looking guy. And well, Atletico Mints as well, which I've not really been into. I haven't listened to, and I listened to one, and it's fucking impenetrable, but it's amazing. You can't just you can't just leap into that one, can you?
Maybe not. I don't know.
No, it's brilliant, but it's really amazing because it's absolutely you doing exactly what you want to do.
I do like it because it's just of the moment, and but it's like what you this it's just so liberating to just do it.
Yeah.
And then some people listen. Not many did at first.
Right.
But, people listen. It's not football.
It sort of has a sort of base in football, though, right? So it started as a football thing, and then so some of the characters are footballers. Yeah,
but now it's
football people.
It's about Neil Hunt, the nonsense potter, and all sorts of shit. Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it personally. But it's a journey,
It's but again, I think it's amazing to think even someone like you can find that freedom within that format to go, I can just want to do this, and it feels like you write it fairly quickly. Would that be? That
is exactly right. Yeah. So it's just little little phrases and stuff. And I do a thing. Have you ever seen me? I'm doing something called Train Guy.
Yeah, I was just about to say.
Yeah. Well, with Train Guy, I just do that because I'm getting the train back to Hastings, and suddenly it's that fun and there's something to do.
Yeah.
I can't think of it. Yeah. He's a pretty hackneyed character, really, isn't he? We've seen it a million times.
No, I don't think it. I think, but again, it's that internet thing where if you weren't a successful personality already, it's the kind of thing that I think would break through because it's a recognisable character, but I don't think anyone's done it the same. And it is, and it works in that short burst. Here's a funny thing. Let's move on to the next one.
38 seconds. Yeah. So you need to go to the Thought Roundabout and get off at Success Junction. Didn't say that right, did I? That was just Cliff Richards. Get off at Success Junction. Have a campertucci on me and all that business.
Yeah, it's you've got this. It's a nice life, I think. And you were saying, I can't believe this is true, and I don't believe it is true that you don't get recognised very much in the street, and people aren't shouting stuff at you all the time. But I think you found this nice balance where you're a regular person, and fame doesn't seem to have gone to your head at all. In fact, if anything, reading the book, being a comedian, becoming a successful comedian, has sort of improved your life, and that you were very shy.
Yeah, no, that was the greatest gift it gave me. Yeah, because it's like no big deal, my shyness, but it's very frustrating. Like looking at people who seem to, like going to university and not making any contact. So everyone's, seems to be having a great time. Everyone's, and you just can't penetrate just because you dare and say hello to a stranger. Yeah. And then started doing the big night out, and strangers came up to me. And in an instant, all the fear's gone, and I didn't have to do that. It's like performing on the stage. There's quite a lot of shy performers, isn't there, Richard? They were really, really shy.
There are, yeah.
And it's like on stage, you never have to talk to a stranger. You're talking at them. Yeah. But you never have to say, "Oh, hello, mate." Yeah. So it's a wonderful release for a lot of.
Yeah, I really get it. I was shy. I don't think. I talked to Rod Gilbert on one of the online ones we did, and he was like incredibly shy. I think you and he are as shy as each other, and I consider myself still fairly shy in that sense. And it is a weird thing where you can the freedom that somehow this is a different thing. Yeah. But it seems like, and for a lot of people and a lot of comedians, success seems to have either made them, look at everyone else and be bitter about, even if they're successful, they're looking at the next person up, or it makes them very arrogant, or it makes them aloof, or they get depressed about trying to make people laugh all the time and try to find, try something serious to do. But you just seem to love the job, right? And
I mentioned in the book that a couple of times a year I have a meal with Matt Berry and Rhys Shearsmith. Yeah. And we call it our gossip club, and we just talk about other comedians and decide which one is currently at the top of the lucky table and so on. But I think what's really going on there is a way of us checking ourselves. Yeah. and saying, we must all never get into that area, you know.
Yeah.
I'm not saying I've succeeded, but it's, you know, you've seen it, Richard. It's hard to name names. Name them if you want.
I will not. I won't name. But also, you don't know. Yeah, I think again, as you get older, you don't know what people have gone through. You don't know what else is going on in their life, and so you know, it's Stuart Lee. I think, but the whole book. As a kid, you were a decent kid, and you were a mum's boy in the nicest possible way. In that, I think you recognised your mum had been through this terrible. I mean, this year where your dad died and you burned down the house happened within months of each other.
Yeah.
So that's a lot to cope with.
Yeah.
But you're a decent person. Even all the stories of childhood of you seeing other kids being beaten up, feeling empathy for them, and I think that's why you.
I didn't help though.
No, that's okay. You were shy. You were too shy to go up to police and say, "Hey, stop."
Too shy to scrap.
But you're a decent. You're a decent person, and I think that's what really comes across from the book. Look, the book's fantastic, and not that and I'm imagining the audio book is very good as well. You must have done the audio book.
I gave it a go.
Yeah.
It's like acting, though, isn't it? It's tricky.
It is tricky, but as you know, you talk about your acting in the book, and I've always, when you work alongside real actors as a comedian, it always feels a bit like, oh my god. Yeah. But actually, it's only another form of confidence. And you are good at acting. You've done loads of acting, and you've been in loads of stuff. So.
I did a show called Randall Hopkirk Deceased. Tell the story in the book, but Amelia Fox was next to the camera because someone stands for your eye line, and I had to act. So I said, "But Amelia, I love you so much," and Amelia just laughed in my face next to the camera. So they got rid of Amelia, and Charlie Hickson, who was directing it, stood for my eye line. And I said, "But Amelia, I love you so much, like," or whatever. Charlie burst out laughing. And then Vic tried it, and we ended up with, it's a true story, that one, Richard. We ended up with the woman who was doing the teas and coffees. And I said, "Amelia, I miss you so much because I love you," like. She burst out fucking laughing. Sometimes it's a tricky business. You just have to admit it. It's not my thing.
It is. Well,
I'm a great dancer, but I can't act.
It's not your main thing, but
it's not my main interest.
But it's not. But it's because you're so funny. But you do make everything funny. So if you're saying something serious, it's always a little bit of Bob Mortimer under there, and it's a wonderful thing. So look, buy the audiobook. It would be my advice, even though I haven't heard it because I know it's going to be good. But definitely buy the book. It's called "It's Away and Away," and it's away. It's away. It's a living. And ladies and gentlemen, will you please give a huge round of applause to still my favourite guest, Bob Mortimer.